is Mel Reeves, and I am proud to know him. I am proud to be his mentee. I am proud to be his niece. He is an extraordinary, amazing, amazing man that has dedicated, literally dedicated his life to this work. Not everybody can say that. This man has dedicated his life. And a lot of the friends that he used to be around are no longer around. He's one of the only ones left, and that speaks volumes in itself. So if you guys can give a large round of applause and fist in the air to Brother Mel Reeves.
Full disclosure, that's kind of my relative, so I appreciate that that introduction. Yeah, she's like my daughter. My best friend, Chris Nissen, that was a bad brother. Wish y'all could have met him in his heyday. That's his daughter, and so we were like brothers, and so that's my niece. Yes, that's right. We're not blood, but we might as well be. So listen, y'all pretty much know what I'm gonna say before I say it. I bet you know what I'm gonna tell you. If you fight back, you can win, right? People gonna tell us all kind of crazy stuff, right? Man, you know, the odds are against us. You know, they won't let us do this, and they won't let us do that. And I hear people talking about, well, you know, I don't want to march. Let me tell you something. Look at that person real closely. The folk who said they don't want to march, because let me tell you something. When they run around and run to the police, and their eyes hanging half out the socket, they're gonna want to march, okay? So tell them they better be careful what they say. So speaking of that, you know, the reason I always say if you fight back, you can win, because I know this from experience. You know, I'm the old guy out here, but I know this from experience. When I was a little kid, I didn't want to fight, man. Right? I really didn't want to fight, but I'd get my butt whooped, right? I'd come home, you know, my eye would be all swollen, my lip be bust, and, you know, people would jump on me, and I didn't want to fight because I thought, man, I don't want to fight, you know, I don't want to fight. So I'd come home, with my eye all swollen, my lip bust, and my mom said, well, are you gonna fight back? I'm like, well, you know, I don't really want to fight them folks. But then it dawned on me eventually that if I'm gonna stop them from fighting me, I'm gonna have to fight back. So, you know, so I finally started to fight back. You know, the first time I fought back, my eye was still swollen, my lip bust, but they had to limp away. You hear me? They limped away. I walked away. They limped away because I fought back. And the same is true as this system. You got to stand up and fight back, folks. You got to stand up and fight back, and you got to recognize who your enemies are, right? And we are in a war. Make no mistake about that. We are in a war. They used everybody. Your favorite politician, right? They used everybody. Your favorite politician, preachers, everybody to come out against us, right? So we're in a war. The Star Tribune has been writing articles, right, putting our folks down. They act as if the people in my community, they're not credible. I got at least 12 people in our community who said that they saw our brother Jamar Clark handcuffed, right, thrown to the ground and shot. I believe them, right? But when the Star Tribune writes about it, it says that the people in my neighborhood, the witnesses in my neighborhood, they claim that they saw something. And then they had a nerve to say, Bob Kroll said, they said Bob Kroll is a credible human being. And let me tell you something. Bob Kroll is an admitted racist. You can't be a worse human being than a racist. I'm gonna tell you why. Because you hate people you don't even know. What kind of person hates somebody they ain't never met just because of the color of their skin, right? But the Star Tribune's gonna try to tell you that he's credible. And then they want to talk about Jamar Clark. CCO's talking about, well, he was running from the police before. What in the hell does that have to do with them killing him? All right? Let me tell you something about Jamar Clark. You know who Jamar Clark was? A human being. Right? He was a human being, a black human being. He was somebody's son, somebody's cousin, somebody's uncle. He was a human being. I don't care what he might have done, right? He was just like the rest of us. He wasn't perfect, but he was a human being, and he had a right to live, right? And we supposedly live in a democracy, right? Where supposedly you're supposed to have your day in court. Well, he should have had his day in court. Got everything they want to say. They got all kind of things they can say about Mike and them and Black Lives Matter. But you know what they did that a lot of people talking about they want to do? They put their behinds on the line. You can't argue with nobody when they put their body on the line. I don't care what they think. You got to respect that, right? And so they came out with this press conference talking about they were concerned about the safety of the people there. So you know what's crazy about that? Now we're in a democracy, right? They're our representative. If they're concerned about the safety, do something about it. right? Bring some security out. Protect our behinds. That's your job. But they said they want to shut the occupation down because they were concerned about security. They weren't concerned about those 5 young brothers that got shot. Did y'all peep that? And see, this is about race and class. A lot of people get that confused. Because let me tell you something. If certain middle-class black folks' sons that got shot out there, they wouldn't be on no press conference talking about shut down the occupation. They'd have been in Betsy's face talking about, hey, you got to do something about those people who shot my son. You see how that works? Oh yeah, so we have a race and class-based society. So you got to recognize your friends, y'all. You know, Betsy and them and Mike Freeman them seem to be nice people. Mike Freeman even go to church. At least that's what he told us. I had to take his word for him. He tried to tell me he knows something about God. He had me scratching my head. I know something about God too, and he don't act like nobody that know nothing about no God. Because people who know God try to act halfway right. They have to be halfway fair. That guy, as long as he's been the daggone prosecutor over here, he has never, ever indicted a cop. Now, he's trying to convince us that the cops ain't never wrong. That don't even make sense. So, when you fighting back, you do have to recognize your friends. And you got to stop playing these games, folks. You know, you got to stop messing around with the DFL. You keep putting them first, and they keep putting you last. You know, you got to leave it alone. I call it the dupe for long party, for too long party. Yeah, that's what it is. We were duped for too long, y'all. It's time we leave that reservation and stand up for ourselves. Somebody talked about it earlier. It's time. How in the world we live in a democracy and we got to be out here begging them to do right by us? Think about that, right? Something's got to change. So part of fighting back is you got to recognize what this system's doing. You got to recognize your friends, and you can't play with them. You can't play with them. When I was a kid, you know, the teacher would say, "Man, go out to recess." I said, "No, I'm not going to recess." You know why? Because I don't play. And that's how to be our attitude. We got to stop playing with these people, right? We got to stop playing with them, and we got to recognize that we have to fight back. And when you fight back, you got to find what your enemy's weaknesses are. And we can win this, y'all. They got a lot of weaknesses, right? We need to make them remember Jamar Clark. As I said to folks earlier, we need to make this city, this county choke on the name Jamar Clark. When they go to eat at their fine restaurant, there should be somebody with a sign that say, "Justice for Jamar Clark. Right. Prosecute the police." Right. And let me tell you, so people don't get confused by what we mean by prosecution of the police. We ain't no lynch mob. That's what them other folks do, right? The cops are lynch mob. We ain't no lynch mob. We say prosecute. We say arrest them and charge them just like we would. That's only fair, right? Now, we live in a democracy, and you do something to me. If I do something, they sure going to arrest me and charge me, right? So we say the police are guilty of a crime, right? They should have their day in court, but they should be arrested and charged, right? And have their day in court. That's what prosecution means. And so we should make them choke on the name of Jamar Clark. When they go to the Viking game next week, there should be some people there with a sign that says, "Prosecute the police. Justice for Jamar Clark." When they go eat at their fancy restaurants down there, they shouldn't be able to eat in peace. There should be somebody with a sign that say, "Justice for Jamar Clark." Y'all hear what I'm saying? Yeah. When they go to the Guthrie, somebody should be right there with a sign that says, "Justice for Jamar Clark. Prosecute the police." When they go to the orphan, their shows or put on their nice suits and whatever, we should make them uncomfortable as hell in this town, y'all. When they go to the ball game to see that cool Timberwolves, there should be somebody there with a sign that says, "Justice for Jamar Clark," right? When they get up in the morning and turn the TV on, they should hear something about "Justice for Jamar Clark." When they go to sleep at night, they should roll and tumble and toss in their sleep because all they can think about is Jamar Clark. We should make Mike Freeman have nightmares on the name of Jamar Clark. You hear me? When you turn your TV on, it should be Jamar Clark. Prosecute Jamar Clark. When people go to that convention center, they need to know that in Minneapolis, we want the police to kill our brother prosecutor, right? And the way we do that is we have to stand up and fight back. We got to stand up and fight back. We can win this fight. You know how I know we can win it? Because they sending everybody at us. They send their press, right? The Star Tribune. They can't see. Now these people got all kind of degrees. They can't get the story right to say their lies, right? They sending preachers at us, right? You know, preachers ain't never said nothing before, right? Y'all know, y'all church folk know what I'm talking about. Ain't never said a word in their lives. All of a sudden, they talking about a protest. You know, they don't even know what a protest is. You know, they send everybody at us. Old folks, You know what I'm saying? They sending your favorite politician, and now you know that Bessie ain't on your side, because she's smiling, but she ain't on your side, because her response to all this hell that's been raised in her town was to do what? Was to raise the police budget. Now, she told you where she coming from. Now, and people just tell me, when somebody tells you who they are, you believe them. Okay? When they show you who they are, you believe them. This system shows you every way they can that it's rotten at its core. Now, am I lying? It's rotten. Because when you go to work, they try not to pay you right? If you're black and you live in the hood, they try not to educate your kid, right? If you make a mistake, they try to make you pay for it forever. What kind of people do that? So our job, folks, this one time when we can push back against this low-down, dirty, rotten, corrupt system, okay? And I don't want to be just out here talking. I want y'all to do this. Twin Cities Coalition for Justice for Jamar Clark is going to be organizing. I want y'all to come to the meeting, and we're going to try to make this system choke on the name of Jamar Clark. Y'all hear me? You hear me? If you fight back, you can win. If you fight back, we can win. If you fight back, we can win. If we fight back, we can win. If we fight back, we can win. If we fight back,